Takes a little longer to set it up. Hmm. This week we are reading the Parsha of Toldos, which is the Yitzchak and Rivka have not had a child yet. And in the beginning, we know that the two sons, Yaakov and Esav, are born. And from the very beginning, we could see the difference between them. And Yaakov is the Ishtam. He's the Torah studier. He's the one who's good. And Esav, he's the wild man. And if you don't pay attention, you don't realize that a lot of time flies by in the Parsha. It's actually, by the time we get towards the end where the blessings are, they're 63 years old. They're not these kids. They're 63 years old. Yaakov's not married yet either. And of course, the story of the blessings is the centerpiece when we have where Esav has either, depending on how you understand the story, either he has deceived his father totally, or his father, for other reasons, felt that I need to give him the blessings because otherwise he's going to be totally lost. Whatever the various reasons, Yitzchak decides to give the blessings to Yaakov, and Rivka, his mother, overhears and says that this is not good, especially if she knows that Yaakov is the future destiny of the Jewish people, and she calls Yaakov over and says, "Okay, we've got to pull a little shtick here. We've got to pull a deception, and we're going to you're going to go and act like you're Esav, and your father Yitzchak will give you the blessings." Right, and so we're familiar with the story, and Yitzchak, so Yaakov says to her, "Oh, how am I going to get away with this? I'm obviously very different. I feel different." Now remember, Yitzchak was blind, so he couldn't see him. So it's all going to be by sound and touch and feel and everything else. But he says he's gonna touch me, and then he's going to realize I'm not. I don't feel like Asa because Asa was hairy and I'm not. And she says, and what's going to happen? He says, "Oh, my father's going to curse me. My father's going to curse me because he's going to realize that I tried to trick him, and instead of giving a blessing, he's going to give me a curse." And she says, "Alai kilalas chabani, your curse should be upon me. Don't worry, I accept all repercussions for it, and I will take any of the blame," because she was sure that this was the right thing to do, and either some opinions would say she wasn't worried about it because since it was the right thing to do, she would be safe, and when she wouldn't get cursed, or even if she was going to put herself out there even at that extent. But either way, one thing's for sure. Yitzchak would not be too pleased with her, it would seem, you would think, if he found out there was a deception, which is probably not such a good thing for their marriage. Even someone like Yitzchak, if his wife is deceiving him, so it seems to be a problematic issue in Sholem bias. And that's the part of the story you want to look at. But the question that's asked is why did we know that Yaakov is supposed to get the blessings. We know that the Jewish people are destined to come from Yaakov, right? Just like Hashem promised Avram, he promised Yitzchak, and it was the destiny was going to be through Yaakov. That was the destiny. So this is what had to happen. So if that's what had to happen, why did Hashem have to make it where Yitzchak is going to be deceived and he's going to do it? Why don't he just arrange that Yaakov gets the blessings very simply? And Rabbi Avram Pam asked this question, and there again, you could give different answers, but he wants to come up with a very nice concept, which is that if we examine what happens afterwards, we will see, we know Yaakov had a very difficult life. Of all of us, and each of them had their trials and tribulations, but Yaakov's life was really a rough life. I mean, from the very beginning, his brother Esav hated him. He's right in the beginning. But what happens right after this? After these blessings happen, he goes out and he's running away because his brother wants to kill him. Right? He has to run to the house of Lavan, which is his uncle. And Lavan was not a very nice guy either. And he was a cheat and a robber. And he was trying to deceive all the time that he was there. He was pulling different shtick on Yaakov. But even before that, the Medrash tells us that after he left on his way, he was met by Esav's son Eliphaz, who was ostensibly sent to kill him, and Yaakov convinced him not to kill him, but essentially he robbed him of everything he had. He told him that the sages teach us that there are different types of people who could be compared to someone who's dead. One of if you don't have anything, if you're totally poor, you're dead. There's a certain comparison to being dead. So he said, look, take all my stuff. It'll be like you killed me. So he was able to convince his nephew. And so here he is. He has all the things. He's on the road and he's got nothing. Then he gets to Lavan and he gets deceived. Right? He works 7 years for Rachel. He tricks him, puts in Leah. Another 7 years, 14 years he's working. And even after that, the Torah tells us all kinds of shtick that he was pulling. And then 20 years pass and he's ready to go home. And Esav's back. And he's coming out there with an army. He's got that, right? All of these trials and tribulations. What happens next? In this next week's Parsha, his daughter Dinah gets kidnapped and she gets raped by Shechem, and a terrible thing happened. It's nonstop. His entire life was one of tragedy and really difficulty. And then Yosef, of course, after that. So how did he make it? This is pretty tough. What gave him the strength? So Rav Pam wants to say that his mother. When he thought of his mother, what did his mother do for him? His mother was willing to sacrifice everything for him. His mother, in order to get those blessings, Rivka put it on the line. She was willing to put herself to get cursed. She is the one who, first of all, came up with the idea that he should get the blessings in the first place. And she sacrificed and she was willing to make it happen. And in the end, also, she gave up the relationship with Yaakov. She sent him away, right, as a result of that. She lost the connection with her son for 22 years at least. When he was thinking about that, whenever he was in trouble, whenever he was challenged, he remembered my mother. She did what she did for me, what she sacrificed. If she went through all that sacrifice for this purpose, I've got to make it work. I can't give up. I cannot just let things go. I have to make sure that I fulfill my mission. And that lesson is one really for all of us, that when times are tough and we're thinking like, how are we going to make it? Remember all of the people who put their blood, sweat, and tears into making us who we are. We think of our parents, we think of maybe our teachers, other people. If someone else has put all that effort into enabling us to be able to succeed, then it's incumbent upon us to make sure that we do our utmost to succeed and not give up. And therefore, when it comes to anything in life, but when it comes to our Judaism, our observance, our connection, we can't give up. How many people have sacrificed so that we can live as we are? How many people have given up so that we can live as Jews in this world? If we're going to just throw it all away, then everything they've done is gone. It's for nothing. And therefore, when we are facing all of the various challenges of the anti-Semitism, or we're in a society which doesn't have the values that we believe in, we think about, how did we get here? Who sacrificed to put us here? And that is going to give us strength to be able to continue and to be able to continue to follow in the ways of the Torah and to follow in the ways of our parents, our grandparents, our great parents, etc. Have a great Shabbos.